What's going on, everybody? Brian Edwards, MajorWager.com. It is Friday, 3 o'clock Eastern on January 22nd. I want to talk a little college hoops, a couple of future plays I'm recommending. Yesterday, I bet Alabama at 40 to 1. Oh, sorry. 40 to 1 odds to win the national title. So whenever you're betting a team at that good of a number, they don't have to win the national title for you to make a profit. Once they get to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8, or hopefully they will get that far, then you can start hedging. So let's say you have 100 on Bama and you're going to win 4,000. When they get to the Sweet 16, like let's say their opponent is whatever, Villanova. Might not be a good example because Villanova would be favored over them probably. But just say it's whoever team. Let's say Alabama's favored by 3 in the Sweet 16. Okay, and so your bet has you 100 at risk to win 4,000. Okay, so the opponent they have in the Sweet 16, you could take them for $100 plus 3 or whatever, plus 130 on the money line, plus 135. You could throw maybe $50 on that team and their odds to win it all or to win that region, which would mean just win the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. Because, after every, from the first and second round to the region semifinals and finals or Sweet 16, Elite 8, they repost the odds to win each region and the national title. So you could get on Alabama's Sweet 16 opponent um, plus 3 or money line, or buy a $50 or $100 ticket on them to win it all, which, at Sweet 16, if they're dog to Bama, I don't know what that number would be, maybe 15 to 1, maybe 20 or 30 to 1. Okay, so if Alabama were to get beat by that team, you win your plus 3 and or plus 130 money line bet. And then you've got an Elite 8 team where you're holding a ticket, I don't know, anywhere from whatever, 10, 15, or maybe hopefully 30 or 40 to 1. Um, and then you can kind of just do the same thing as you go, Elite 8, Final Four, etc. And all you got to do is make sure you win more than $100 that you risk to win 4,000. And so, but I think Alabama's a very legit Final Four contender, and let me tell you why. So, Alabama, since they lost by 2 to Western Kentucky, and Western don't think, oh my God, they lost to them. No, Richard Stansbury, he gets recruits. He's got Charles Bassey, who might be a first round pick. I haven't looked at any mock drafts here lately, but he's a big time prospect. And Western Kentucky is a solid mid major this year. And they only beat him by 2. But since then, Alabama's won 8 in a row, both straight up and against the spread. They've won 6 of those games by 16 points or more. They're not beating teams, they're annihilating opponents. Their 2 off games, if you will, where they won by 4 and by 8, they won by only 8 at Tennessee. Pretty sure they led that Saturday afternoon game wire to wire as well. And Tennessee was undefeated until that game. And they hadn't lost any more since then until my Gators pimp slapped them by 26. Woo! We got to do another video about what's going on Rocky Top now, but focused on hoops and Bama right now. Rocky Top, we're talking football, obviously. So this team is deep. They've got a nice blend of veterans that Nate Oats inherited from the Avery Johnson era, talking about Herb Jones, John Petty, and Alex Reese. All John Petty did was make 8 of 10 threes in that 105-75 decapitation of LSU in Red Stick a couple nights ago. That game got everybody's attention with Alabama. They're undefeated in the SEC. And by the way, that 8-game winning streak, 7 are against SEC teams. The other non-win by 16 or more was a 4-point win at Auburn with Sharif Cooper. Look, everything you've thought about Auburn all year, throw it out. The Auburn team from the last 4 games with 5-star Sharif Cooper Probably going to be a one and done, probably be a mid to late first round pick in the 2021 NBA draft. He's struggling with his 3-point shot, but this guy gets where he wants off the bounce every possession, and he gets to the rim or he kicks to somebody for a dunk or an open 3-pointer. So that's basically what happens with Auburn. Now, Arkansas did a good job in the second half the other night when Auburn blew a 19-point lead, but still covered for me, catching the 6 or 6.5. Wrote an article about it on Major Wager. Hope you saw it. Hope you follow us on Major Wager via Twitter at Major Wager Uno is the handle, at Major Wager UNO. So anyway, he's got the veteran mix of Herb Jones, Alex Reese, and John Petty. Then he's got a nice blend of transfers. Now Bruner, Jordan Bruner, the transfer from Yale, one of the most coveted grad transfers out there this past year. He got hurt like 3 games ago. He's going to miss about another month, but he'll be rejoining the team by the start of March at the latest, probably more like mid-late February. And they're doing all this without him, at least the last 3 games. They polished off. I mean, it was the night after they won the Natty in football. I mean, if you're an Alabama fan, you're obviously in heaven the night after you win a Natty. And then they go to Rupp Arena and win by 20. I mean, really? I mean, that is absolute utopia for Roll Tide fans. And now here it's just carried on, and they're undefeated in the SEC. I think yesterday, I think they were number 11 in the net rankings, and I want to say 10 in Ken Palm, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I like net rankings. I respect them a little more than Ken Palm. Ken Palm's got some numbers that are you're just like, what? Why? But all right, so Petty is shooting 42.4% from 3-point land. They've got the 5-star transfer from Villanova, Javon Quinterly. He's averaging 13.3 points, 3.3 assists. The prize of Oates' first recruiting class, now a sophomore, Jaden Shackelford, averaged 15 points as a true freshman last year. He's averaging 13.1 points per game. I mean, they have size, they have balance, they have Nate Oats' system, which he likes to get layups or shoot threes. And so do I. Mid-range jumpers are not, they're out of style. They are out of style, if you will. So anyhow, 40-1 with Bama. Oh, I know the one thing I was going to include, and this is a real major reach here. This is not accurate. It's kind of just like whatever, a hot take prediction that would shock everybody, that I'm going to just throw this out as a possibility, not gonna happen. But, and I say this because I remember exactly where I was. I was on the beach, and I kept getting these texts from Bama fans. I lived in Atlanta for a decade. I've got a lot of friends that went to Bama, and where I live on the beach here in Santa Rosa, there's a lot of Bama folks. So I got multiple texts the day they hired Nate Oats, and I thought it was a brilliant hire. I mean, he had already won a tournament game twice and won 30 or more twice. I think he won 30, he might have won 31 one year and 32 the other at Buffalo. So I just thought it was a great hire. But, like, you know, especially hires in the South, you normally don't, like, there usually has to be somebody with ties to the area. And so that was the only reason it was surprising. It was not surprising in the least that Nate Oats would get a high major gig. It was surprising that he got the Alabama gig, just because you would think in the South you would have to kind of have ties to that region for recruiting purposes, etc. But I remember getting a text from multiple friends that said, "Who the hell is Nate Oats?" And I said, "Great hire. That's who he is." And so much so, I mean, he is kicking ass so much. Granted, only 2 years, and they probably were not going to make a tournament. They were probably an NIT team last year, but or they definitely were going to be an NIT team last year. They kind of had a shot at the tournament, but they slumped down the stretch. But anywho, where I was going with that is that this hire by Greg Byrne, the Alabama AD, of Nate Oats, potentially, possibly, maybe one day, Gator fans are going to hate me for this, might be looked upon in the same breath as Jeremy Foley hiring Billy Donovan at Florida. That's how good a hire this was. Now, obviously, that's completely inaccurate for me. I mean, Billy Donovan went to what 15 tournaments in 19 years, what 4 Final Fours, 3 title games, 2 natties. Last team to repeat 06, 07. Shout out Big Al, Corey, Torion, Joe Kim, my man. And so, yeah, that's how good this hire it could end up being. And Alabama's a legit Final Four contender. And because you have hedge opportunities to profit, I think it's a good play. Alabama 40-1 to cut down the nets. They don't have to cut down the nets for us to make profit. Over now, Brian Evers, MajorWager.com.